Hey everybody, and welcome back to Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jaculator still Lake Jackson. So this one's in my little galley kitchen. So again, this is one I saw online as labeled as poor man's Oyster Rockefeller, but there's no like cream or spinach and a couple of different things. So it's more like a poor man's oysters guhuli, because there was a oyster place up the road that was really good that I used to go to for my birthday ever since I turned like 14, but then I got too expensive and yeah, whatever. So this is a good way to do them at home, but you better like oysters. So, and you better live with people that like oysters. Don't reheat these. Don't put them into thing. It's oysters. Eat them. This is good. So before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe, get the little notifications by ringing the bell down in that corner over there. Close to Tuesdays and Fridays as we can. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Also, there's a link down the doobly-doo for our merch, which I'm not wearing at the moment. I apologize. Everything's at the laundry. But we got aprons, fake hands, spatulas, all that kind of stuff. We're a small business. It's down in the doobly-doo. Let's just jump into it. Food time. Oysters, you better like oysters. Alright, so it's not a lot of stuff, but your main thing is going to be the oysters. I got these 2-for-1 deal. You're going to need the tins. The video I saw, they just cooked them right in the tins after taking the top off, but I know they got like the BVA plastic liner in a lot of the metals, so I'm going to put them in my own little pan here. You want to put them in a dish or something to cook it with. Something oven safe. I got 4 of them, and it's going to fill that up. 3 should be fine. You're going to need a little bit of butter. About 2 tablespoons of, half a lime or a lemon. It's completely up to you. I got this tub of Parmesan stuff. You can use anything. I'd like to use some sharp cheddar ones. I got some of the pre-diced garlic. I was always talking about it, but never using it. So some Asian seasoning. I use the Slap Your Mama stuff. I think Tony Chachere's is the more socially acceptable one. The hot sauce. Louisiana's my go-to, but I've been using a lot of this truff stuff. But if I want to bake, I want the vinegar-based stuff. All right. The rest of this is kind of optional. I got some green onions that are going limp on me that I need to use, so I'm going to use those to the top, mostly just the white parts here. I got some serrano peppers because it's Texas. I'm going to use that to just spice up half of this. And then again, lemon pepper or garlic pepper is perfect to top these once you're dressing them. If you want to add a little bit more garlic or lemon or citrus to it, and then maybe some of this cayenne stuff. I want to try it with a jalapeno one. The cayenne would be work too, but those are completely optional, so it's completely up to you. Base stuff without the seasoning. Okay. So, first things first, you need to go ahead and get these open and get them drained and get them put them in this pot. Like I said, the other one, they just kind of put everything on top of the tins and baked them in there. I just don't trust it with the amount of BVAs, plastic linings and stuff they do that. So just pull these off, be very careful. I almost got my finger on one of these. And you need to get the oil out of there. So what I generally do is I put them in the sink, let it drain, and then run a little water in there, and it runs the oil out of the top real quick. So just do that with all of those, and we're just going to, no preamble, just put them in there in the bottom. They come in these little blocks because they come out of the tins. You can just kind of scoot them in there, which is relatively simple. Kind of fit them. I could stop there, but I already had that 4th open, and it was the one with the smaller ones, the different size you can kind of see, so I can use those to fit them in. Now, to move them around, I like using my teeny tiny oyster fork because I want to have a reason to use an oyster fork. My friends give me those every year at my birthday because we go after oysters, and they either get them from places or bring them as a joke. So you want to go ahead and get your half a lime and go ahead and squeeze that down on top of it. You don't have to completely gut it. You don't have to completely juice it. Just squeeze the bejeebles out of it and let it in there. Try to get it covered. Now, your butter, you want to just do a little pats. I think the original one was like 2 of these. It was about 1/8 of a tablespoon per each. Yeah, go ahead and preheat your oven is what that was. I forgot that I sped that through there. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 to 400, depending on how fast you want these cooked. But it was 1/8 of a tablespoon per tin, so it was 2 of these little pats per. So I just went ahead and shorted that a little bit. Go ahead and get your Cajun seasoning here, or your Southern Louisiana seasoning, whatever. Give it a good sprinkle in here. It wasn't coming out real easy here, so it looks like I'm just dousing the crap out of it, but it was very light. So go ahead and get your garlic, put it on here, and try to spread it out. I try to keep my spoon from touching the oyster so I don't cross-contaminate my jar of garlic. So just put it on there, and then I go very liberal with my hot sauce, mostly because I know when it cooks in that vinegar, it kind of soaks into 1 or 2, so you're going to want to kind of spread that out as much as possible. Get a lot in there. Again, if you're not into the spicy stuff, don't add the spicy stuff. You can make that completely optional. So now that I got that nice and set, then we're going to go ahead and cut the top off of serrano, split it, and then take the veins and seeds out. All right, so again, that's where all that bitterness comes in, is those veins and those seeds. They get stuck in your teeth, stuck anywhere else, and it kind of burns and it kind of sucks. So go ahead and try to get as much of those out of there. Just be sure to spank the back of the pepper, which sounds horrific, but it's just way to get those out of there. So stack those up. We're gonna chop them one way, chop the other, mince them down as far as we can, because you don't want a giant mouthful of peppers. Be very careful in your fingers doing it this way. It doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be exact or uniform. Just make sure it's cut down and pass those little rounds. Onion, same thing. Line up the whites, cut off the roots. We don't need those. And then just go ahead and just mince these down once. Now, the peppers are optional, but if you're going to use, like I do, peppers on half and then onions on half, you need to clean your cutting board and your knife to not cross-contaminate that either. But I really didn't notice. So go ahead and put your peppers on top here as best you can. And then we're going to put cheese on top of that, and then the onions, okay? So, put that down there. Again, those are completely optional. So go ahead and now I got this. I think this is sliced Parmesan instead of shredded. I generally like it just for the look of it, but it would melt more uniformly with the shredded stuff. But it's absolutely up to you how you get it on here. I didn't think I was going to use the whole tub, but I did. Just put the whole tub on there and get it nice and covered, and hit that green onion on top. Okay. Once you get that nice and dressed, doesn't have to be uniform. The cheese is going to melt a little bit. You're going to put it in your oven at 350 or 400 if you want it to melt a little quicker. And then I did it at 350. I checked it every 15 minutes at 350, right? And it took 45 minutes total. And then I did an extra minute with the broil on top, on high, for just 1 minute to kind of darken that cheese and make it a little bit more cooked on top. But they're already smoked, so everything's already cooked. So just take it. You can serve it, eat it right out of the container, or put it on a cracker. It is completely up to you how you want to serve these. This is some good stuff if you like oysters. If you don't, I don't know why you're watching this video, unless you have somebody around you that you're trying to surprise with some oyster stuff. That's on you. But as somebody who very much loves oysters, grew up on the tins being like how to spoil mom, whatever. So we learned that these are high end, whatever, and does them. And I do oysters every year for my birthday, so this is pretty good. I wouldn't use it for a meal prep. It'll probably hold up. Like I said, they're already smoked or whatever, as long as you keep them sealed and refrigerated. But if you heat them, it's going to make the entire place smell like oysters. So I wouldn't suggest taking this to work or around people that don't like it or have an allergy. So be very, very careful with this one. But yeah, this one turned out really good. It's like, as much as I love the look and the idea of cooking them in the tins, I just couldn't do it. But this is just my attempt at this. So there you have it. Now your entire house smells like Parmesan, citrus, butter, and of course oysters. But it's so good. I'm a big fan of these. Again, oysters are a thing. I miss going to the old spot down there. So yeah, this is good. We always had oysters around the house because that's how mom spoiled herself when we were broke. You can get that $1.10 of oysters. That was always like this elevated thing that we learned to love as children. So that's why we get into it. If you do it differently, you want to see us do it differently or revisit this thing, let me know. Put it down in the comments. That's what they're there for. You can also find me on social media, Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon. We're at all those at In Between Paychecks Kitchen. You can also find us at Instagram, In Between. We had to shorten it down over there. You can find me, Oswey Nerdy, on all of those, including over on TikTok and Twitter, because I refuse to call it X. But I'm generally just talking nerd stuff like D&D, action figures, comics, movies, that kind of stuff for LARP. So if you're into that kind of stuff or you want to talk food, hit me up, man. I have no problems with doing that. I will see y'all next time. Y'all be safe.